Scientific notation, the finale. Now, just to review certain things with scientific notation. Scientific notation is a number written where the first number is something between 1 and 10. But there are so many zeros either before or after it that you don't want to write them down, so you write down as a shortcut something like this. Just like this is one of your homework assignment problems. Avogadro's number. 6.023 times 10 to the 23rd. This just means a 6023 with 20 zeros after it. Because there are 3 decimal places, and that's a 23. So if you already have 3 here, you have 20 more after that. So just imagine 20 zeros after this number. That's a big number. You don't want to write all those zeros down, so you write it like this. And it's called scientific notation because usually scientists deal with numbers that big. Not finances, as mentioned earlier. What was that? Yeah. Now, when we multiply numbers in scientific notation, quick review. If we did 5 times 10 to the 3rd times 8 times 10 to the negative 4th, let's make that negative 14th. We know that we multiply these two numbers and multiply those two, which means you add the exponents. So this becomes 40 times 10. What's negative 14 plus 3? Negative 11. Now we don't want the decimal point there. We want it here, so we have to move it 1 over. So your final answer is 4.0, or just 4, times 10 to the blast. And move it over 11. No. 10, 9. So I have 9 zeros here. So 10. I'm not going to go over all the work. You can just make it into a regular number, then move it back. So I just moved it over 11 times, then moved it back here to 10. So there you go. So 4.0 times 10 to the negative 10th. Fewer dividing numbers, like 18 times 10 to the 5th over 6 times 10 to the 2nd. We know that we have to divide these numbers and divide those, but really you're subtracting the exponents. What's 18 divided by 6? 3. 5 minus 2 is 3. So there you go. That's another example right there. And then you can work any combination of that. So 4.2 times 10 to the 3rd plus 3 times 10 to the 4th. To do this, little review. I can't just add these numbers yet. But the question is, why can I not just add the 4.2 and the 3? Any reason why I cannot? Yes, sir.
Because there's the plus sign in the middle?
No. That's not why you can't add. I mean, I can add because of the plus sign, but there's another reason why I just can't add these numbers straight out right now. The powers are different. The powers are different. Remember, when you add and subtract numbers, you have to line up the decimal points, correct? But you got to make sure you know where the decimal points are. If I wanted to show my work, kind of like do the whole thing, I'd rewrite this as 4200, correct? Plus 30000. So this is saying 30,000 plus 4,200. So in this case, what would I add? Would I add the 30 to the 42? How would I add that?
42 to 30.
Well, I mean, what would you add? Would you add the 3? How do you want to add this? Like this? No, you don't want to do that because the decimal points don't line up. So what's 30,000 plus 4,000? So this becomes 34,200. If you would have just added these up, what's 4.2 plus 3? 7.2. Do you see a 7.2 here? No. And the reason you can't do it is because these are different. They're telling you the decimal place is in different spots. So just remember basic math. When you add numbers, your decimal points should be lined up. These powers tell you where the decimal point is. If they're not the same, then they're not lined up. Your final answer is 3.42 times what 10 to what power? Where do I want the point to be? So how many spaces are in between? 4. So that's your final answer. Now, how would I do that without needing to do all this work? I'm going to change this one to a 4. So that means you got to move that over there. So it becomes 0.42 times 10 to the 4th plus 3 times 10 to the 4th. What's 3 plus 0.42? 3.42. See, I never know which way to move the decimal point, so this confuses me. I just write out the whole number, add them together, and put it back together again. You're going to have to do some work with scientific notation anyway, but if you want to do it this way, feel free. If not, don't. Either way, we're done with the lesson. If you'd like to watch my latest video, click over here. For a video you might like, click up here. And if you'd like to support this channel, please subscribe right here. Or support my Patreon, which I don't have. All right, your homework.